Hey guys, welcome back to my solo fighter Illusionist playthrough. We're going to be going through Sendai's Enclave at this point.
I'll see to it.
The first thing we're going to do is go back to the pocket plane. So I do make the Flail of Ages +5 here to kill the drow encounters at the beginning. And the reason I'm memorizing Spell Shield here is there's a few encounters with beholders. One of the first ones here is against the Hive Mother, and I think Spell Shield will prevent you from getting dispelled at all from their anti-magic ray, which is great. Technically I don't know if that's meant to be the case, because it doesn't seem as though the anti-magic ray causes the Spell Shield to disappear, so I'm not entirely sure what the interaction is for that. But it helps us being dispelled in these fights here, which is very useful. As I mentioned before, the Flail of Ages +5 does have free action, which means I need to cast Improved Haste before I equip it. And I actually forgot to rest, so I head back to the pocket plane. If you rest in any of the thrownable areas, there's like a 99% chance you'll get attacked anyway, so it's kind of pointless to not do that. So yeah, as I was mentioning, I use Improved Haste first, and then I put on Spell Shield for the beholder that's coming up. So you'll notice the Flail of Ages will do a lot more damage. The fact that it now does 2 damage for every element it has, including a new one, which is electric damage, it just does so much damage for a one-handed weapon, as you can see. Even on these enemies, because those enemies seem to have like 50% resistance or something like that, but it does so much damage. The problem is I need to swap off the weapon to the Staff of the Magi in order to actually get anywhere, because Boots of Speed no work with it. So I end up only using it for the fights outside this Enclave, and then I don't actually ever use it again for this run, which is unfortunate. But I figured the Crumb Fair seems to be more reliable anyway at this point, and the Flail of Ages did carry me through pretty much the entirety of Shadow's Realm. It's just the slow effect isn't as useful anymore, and because a lot of enemies are immune to it as well. In this fight I made sure to kill the mage here first, because I think she goes invisible and it takes forever for her to show herself again, but yeah. I pick up a few of the upgrade items in Sendai's Enclave, even though I'm not going to use the weapons that they're for. For example, I think you get the upgrade material for the Rune Hammer, which isn't a bad weapon. It's just, at this point, you're probably not running into too many undead, honestly.
I hope this is worth it. I'll see to it. Yeah. Time is up for you. Yeah. Scream. Time is up for you, friend. Up for you, my friend. Scream. Time is up for you, my friend. Time is up for you. Scream. Scream for mercy.
I did notice the drow here though, so I decided to spawn in the Mord Swords at this point. which have definitely been very useful for me, but I think this is probably the last time that I'm going to use them in this area. And I probably could have used them a lot more than I did. They're just so effective because they die to almost nothing unless there's a death spell or someone has some sort of magic damage spell like magic missile or horde wilting memorized.
Time is up for you, my dad. Hold still. Yeah. I'm with. I'll see to it. It's done.
I know that drow have high magic resist, but some of them are going to fail their saves for Incendiary Cloud. But I end up just using protection from magical weapons here and killing most of them in 4 rounds anyway. So we pick up the key to go forward in here, and we also pick up an amulet that also will give us another improved haste charge. So that's the improved cloak of protection and this now that I can use.
Your answer wouldn't so be it. Fate is foolish, Sendai. You and all your
Forgive me, Miss. Yes, Mr. Sendai. It shall be as you command.
I'm there.
There's 2 paths to take here. They're mainly full of pretty weak enemies in both cases. There's a bunch of spiders in this one. I think most of them will die to Cloud Kill. In fact, I do just check that. Like, they do seem as though they have a chance of dying to it. So I just skip all those enemies because they're really not relevant at all. And the way forward, we need to kill another lich. He's not too difficult.
Let's do this quick as.
I also remembered that I missed a lich back in Enclave. There's one in the cave that you can fight, but he was pretty much going to be the same as any other lich fight by this point. Not too difficult.
Mistress,
No, this ball spawn is far too powerful to trust their destruction to dieth.
Of course, Mistress Sendai. I will unleash all of your drow forces.
We do see a few more drow after coming out here, but I just decide to run past these enemies. I could summon swords for them and kill them, but it's just, there's no real point for me at this point. If you're playing with a party and you're still gaining experience, then of course you want to kill as much as you can. But here I don't really see the point at this stage.
Give me some direction.
I actually found these next few enemies are kind of annoying, so this is why I'm summoning the Planitar and the Simulacrum. I think it's the Earth Elemental in here. I think he continually casts like Stone Skin or something, so it's actually quite hard to kill him. But if we have 3 of us, it ends up not being very difficult. Especially since I'm using the Staff of the Magi to dispel him. My Planitar does almost die though, to be fair. So this fight over here is a bit of a mess. The reason for that is I don't actually want to go into this room because the fight over here is a bit of a mess. I sent my summons in first to kill these enemies. There is a Hive Mother in here, and you're going to see that it drains my item charges. You just saw it there. I don't know if this is temporary, because I seem to get them back a few rounds later. It must have drained my Simulacrum's item charges, now that I'm looking at that. That must have been what happened, yeah. Sorry, I must have saw that wrong because I was confused when I was playing as well. Basically, I didn't want to get near it because I do want to keep the two wands that I have because they are going to be useful. So I just end up sending these two forwards, and eventually the Planetary gets a Vorpal hit on it, killing it instantly. So the rest of this dungeon is going to be fairly straightforward. First of all, we got a pit fight that's going to be laughably easy because we are a part fighter. To be honest, as a mage, this would be easy as well.
If you wish to feast on the brains of those that fall in slaves, you will unleash your illithid on the bald child that invades the Enclave. You must not allow the interloper to reach my inner sanctum.
The next few fights is against a few illithids. There's actually not that many here, and they're not really difficult to begin with, but I do use protection from magical weapons on the boss here, because he might be able to hit me several times and drain my intelligence. The Sendai fight is going to be relatively straightforward. The way to make this a lot easier is to use summons at the door. So the Planetary is going to go ahead and kill all the drows that come in. And I'm just going to leave it there to take care of that. And the statues itself are not very difficult to take down. A few of them I do have problems with because they use stuff like mislead once again. But the statues themselves aren't too much of a concern here. The part that I kind of do a bit poor on is the last bit against Sendai herself, because she has Implosion, I believe. The same spell that Demogorgon can use. So she ends up stunning me for a few rounds. Thankfully it ends up not being too bad. But I didn't even know she had Implosion. So yeah, I end up using True Sight here. Probably the last time I'll need to use it, so True Sight is surprisingly not that necessary. Especially because your Planetary can use it as well. I've been trying to take advantage of that. Yeah, this is the moment when she hits me with that. Thankfully I have protection from magical weapons up, but it doesn't look like anyone was really attacking me anyway. I think she had protection from magical weapons up, so I really could have cast something like Breach. So it takes a bit longer than it probably needed to. But this is the point where we just absolutely destroy her. And that's going to be the end of this area.
Misled. Witness the truth to which you have been so blind.
I was young, so
the 5?
How many of them? Yes.
The last. Then continue on your path, Baldur. I shall see you soon.
The next few fights are going to be against Balthasar and the rest of the trials, including the Ravager. I'll see you guys then.
If it must be done.
Greeting? Oh, so watching your hat. We harpers. I have to leave again. There may be another way in. You'll have to find I must go. From this point on, attaining your destiny is completely your own affair.